I don't think I've ever had a conversation quite like this episode. From talking about the Manosphere to Jim Carrey to parental estrangement, healing, and more. My guest today is Laura Belbin, also known as Knee Deep in Life on social media. I am sure that most of you will already know who Laura is from her funny, creative content online. And I did not know what type of conversation we were going to have in this episode, but I am so glad we had the one that we did. I don't think I've laughed as much as I do throughout this episode, but we have a really serious conversation about healing, about understanding yourself, about self-actualization, and about daring to be the most true, real and authentic version of yourself. Laura is estranged from her parents herself. She talks about that in the podcast. We talk about what that means for her. We talk about her experiences of childhood sexual abuse that is in there. And we do it in a way that is reachable, relatable, and actually, I think, deeply healing. So if you're anybody that's experienced any kind of childhood trauma, if you're somebody that wants to have a little bit of a laugh and doesn't take themselves too seriously and wants to find a way to come home to yourself, honestly, this is a must listen episode. Honestly, I guarantee you'll be at the end of it and you'll think, where the hell did that time go? Because that's how I felt having the conversation. So sit back, look after yourself and enjoy yourself and enjoy this incredible episode. And I'll see you on the other side. Dysfunction is everywhere. In our families, in our cultures, and in our systems. And this is Dysfunctional, the podcast that helps you name the things that most people can or won't see. Let's call it out, break it down, and maybe even start a bloody revolution. Okay, Laura, how are you doing?
I'm so sorry. Of all times for you, like Laura, take a swig of drink just as he's about to intro you and ask how you are. That would be a really great time to take a
I
swig of
teed
drink.
you up. There's a big
You
3-second
actually
countdown
gave,
on the screen.
yeah,
I
you
told you what I
actually
was going to
also
say.
said to me and then I had every opportunity to just be smooth. That's a great introduction into me. I think I don't think we need to carry on with this podcast with Dan. I'm really good, thank you. It was Mother's Day yesterday, so it was, it was pretty fucking lovely. How about you? How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good. I forgot it was Mother's Day yesterday. That's probably like a good place to start with like my line of questioning for you, isn't it?
Back on.
What did Mother's Day look like for you yesterday?
I've got a teenager and I've got a 10-year-old. So I've got two different ages. One still thinks I'm fucking awesome. The other one thinks I'm a cunt. Am I allowed to say cunt? It's
Yeah.
too late now. I've said it. It's out there.
Twice. You said it twice. You
Twice.
you
Yeah.
repeated it to check if you could say it. Yeah.
Yeah, if I could say it. Yeah, this is why I'm not good on live TV. So the teenager went and stayed at his mate's house and had a sleepover. Went to pick him up and he was like, why did you pick me up so early? I was like, oh, I don't know, like, crazy idea. You might just want to spend some time with your mother. It was real. It was honest. It was just another day. I personally think that it's just this real corporate bullshit where we go, let's celebrate women for one fucking day and do fuck all to support them throughout the rest of the year. So I personally don't massively prescribe to Mother's Day, but we had a chill day. It was cool. There was nothing too stressful about it.
You get cards and shit though, like in the morning.
Do I get what?
Cards, like did they make you a card or something like that?
Teenager, no. He but he did do, like, it makes it, I sound like a wanker and I don't want to say, I've said cunt, so I definitely can say wanker. I don't want to sound like one of those wanker parents that's like, oh, like, I had like the most hashtag blessed day, because I hate that. But I will say they did pull it out the bag. I went to the loo and then I heard them like rifling around in the kitchen and I was like, okay, I'm not going to come out yet. They must have thought I was taking like the shit of the century, because I was in there for about 15 minutes and I was just sort of like sat on the bathtub like, okay. when shall I come out? And then I eventually walked out of the bathroom. They were like, cover your eyes and walk into the living room, which was really nice because neither of them guided me. So I was kind of just like praying to God that I didn't trip over anything. Walked in and they had actually laid out like a little tea party thing on the dining room table, which was really cute. So I didn't get a card, but fuck the cards. That's like that wins in my books. That's pretty fucking special.
So they did something
Especially
nice
for
for you.
two boys as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
they are both boys.
Both boys.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I don't know why I
But
thought you had a girl.
I am a raging feminist, so I am raising them to be, you know, well, not delinquent men, basically.
Which is
Sorry, Josh.
also like a topical thing at the moment with the manosphere that's everyone's
I
talking
haven't
about.
seen it yet. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it because it's not on the dodgy stick yet. Shit, I
Yeah,
probably shouldn't say that. You can say cunt.
never say that. I don't have a dodgy stick. I don't know what you're talking about. And I've never done drugs before.
No, I'm actually joking.
He's joking. I'm
I
joking as well.
no, I haven't watched. Do you know what? I don't even know. Do you know what? I don't even know if I will watch it now.
Why? Because it's not on the dodgy stick.
No. I'm a fully fledged paying Netflix customer. I promise.
Obviously,
Yeah, I wouldn't have the
we
dodgy
wouldn't ever
stick.
cut corners.
No,
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. You know, I would carry on paying £200 a month for all of the sports channels because that
of
would be the
course,
sensible thing to do.
of course.
Um,
Who wants sports channels anyway?
yeah, exactly. Um, I probably won't watch it because I sort of know. I know what it is. I know who they are. I know who the Manosphere people are. I've seen them online. Um, and I think that I don't know if I will learn much watching it.
What's your take on that whole experience, even though you haven't watched it, of that kind of content online?
Um, I don't. So I have a few. I have a few thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's new. I
No.
think it's what I think super interesting is that a lot of people are sort of acting as if misogyny is new, right? And I made a video about this already, right? I did a video where I said, look, I haven't watched it, but I'm watching all of the reactions online. I don't like I don't like a lot of the male reactions to it online because all the male reactions to it online that I see are just blokes trying to show that they're one of the good ones, right?
Oh my God, thank you so much for saying that. It drives me fucking
It's
wild.
just fucking boring to watch, right? I
Yeah,
fucking don't like
it
it.
is.
Like, and I said in the video, like, we grew up on hip hop. So I grew up idolizing 50 Cent, who literally rapped about being a motherfucking PIMP. So,
Yeah.
like, it's not new. What's new is that it's like wired into our phone in this kind of short form content. And I think that these guys that are doing it, I think that they use rage bait. I think they know what they're doing and they're using rage bait to kind of sell stuff. So in some ways, I think that, and I might be being naive here, but I think that most people know who and what they are, right? Um, I actually find it more worrying that the kind of subtle everyday misogyny that goes on in particularly like male podcasts in the actual male sphere is way more dangerous. So you know your man, is it Alex Williams? That's not his name.
I'm gonna Google whoever it is.
He
I'm gonna grab my phone in a second.
he was on he did Love Island and now he does podcasts. He sells an energy drink with the other.
I don't watch Love Island.
No, nor do I.
I'd
But
much
no,
rather fucking.
he's not known for being on Love Island anymore. Anyway, he's got like a podcast. He was on Stephen Bartlett recently, and he was sort of like talking about like the population going down or something, and just blaming it
Oh
on,
yeah. Him. I know who you're on
you know
about.
what I
Yeah.
mean? And he's like blaming it
Yeah,
on
I do.
women, and like so like he's sort of that's more dangerous. I think
It is more dangerous. Yeah.
the subtle everyday misogyny that goes on that men don't want to see. Um,
Hmm.
I think it's worse. And actually, I just think that men never self-reflect when they see this stuff. They just go, you know, thank God I'm not like I've seen loads of guys like going, oh, apparently I'm a simp because I like love my missus and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, no, but you need to reflect on where you are part of this, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that I will watch them. I will think that, yeah, they're clearly, I'd imagine they all grew up fatherless, um, and are, and are chasing clout and chasing money. But again, do you know the guy who does the Do You Have a Dream? Simon Squibb. Do you know him?
No.
He got like goes round and basically says to everybody, you could, if your life's hard, be an entrepreneur. Everyone can do it. I do it, so you should do it. And like his whole, and
Is he
he's
American?
no, he's English. Um, and like everybody loves him and thinks that he's helping everybody. But like you go on his YouTube, and he did one where he did a video where he was like, look, I want to talk about it. I consider myself one of the good guys. And you go on his YouTube, and it's like every video is like, I'll make you rich in fucking
Yeah.
10 minutes and stuff. And I just think, wouldn't you, just because you're not fucking like, I don't know, saying that you want to marry free women, but they can't look at men or whatever they say, that you're automatically one of the good guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, you've
No, I
sent me
like
off on
it,
a
but I
rant.
will say no, I like it because from my perspective, somebody said something to me and it's such a perfect analogy. And it's that when when your expectations of a man is in the basement, but you're in the living room, all you're choosing to do is go down and live in the fucking basement because that person will never have the capacity to be able to get up to here. But as women, and I'm guilty of it, I am guilty of it, where we'll go, oh fuck it, I'll like reduce my expectations or standards or hopes or dreams because like this person is this person is that, and I'll ignore that red flag and that red flag and that red flag because they're selling me a dream, and it's a dream, it's a fantasy. Like we all get swept off by the idea of what another person is because we all want to fall in love, we all want to, none of us want to be on our own, and we're all desperate for like that. It's literally comes down to a biology level of co-regulation, your nervous system finding safety in another human being. And I think that the expectation of men is the bar is so low. And when guys hit that low bar, they're like, out, like, let me get my dick out, fucking suck it for me, bitch, because they just think that they're the best thing that's ever happened. And it's like, no, that's not fucking good enough because me, this cunt over here, my mental load is still through the fucking roof. I'm still carrying the weight of everyone and everything. And guys just don't see that because they've never had to. And the thing that fucks me off the most is that men don't accept their fucking privilege. You can go out at night time. You don't need to worry about being raped or murdered. Like, okay, I'm not saying that men don't get murdered at night, but the reality is women aren't fucking safe because men are fucking morons. Sorry, I went off on a rant as well.
Yeah, I tagged you in. Um, no, listen, and like I I do I feel like I try to do as much work around this as I can, right? And look, even when you look at the reason, one of the main reasons why I do that, right? It's because I've got four daughters, but two of them are adults now. And
Wow.
so
How
they're, yeah,
old are you?
38, nearly 39, yeah. I had my first daughter when I was
Oh,
18.
fuck me. Jesus fucking shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Was that a
So,
big wake up call?
um,
Obviously, you've got to be careful because she'll listen to this. We're so happy we had our kids and all of that, but like,
no,
was
she
that a big
knows,
wake up call?
man. My daughter, like she, and she's had to know. I was an alcoholic drug addict when she was born. So, so, yeah, like she has to know. Like it should have been a big wake up call, but it took me a few more years. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I was 24 when I got sober. Um, so yeah, but like, yeah, I think it's the reason I got sober
Yeah.
because I had kids. I don't know if I would have if it was just for me. But like, having watched my daughters grow up through their teenage years. So
Yeah.
they both got a job when they were 15 in a like an all you can eat local restaurant. And I fucking couldn't believe the things they were saying to me, right? And what like so I remember one of them like saying about some of the comments they get and stuff like that, and they were like, I can deal with the looks, all right, I can sort of deal with the looks, but you know, some of these comments that they're making to me, this is men in positions of power within their work as well. And like the sadness that I felt, that was like, oh my God, at 15, you're already like fully aware that you have to deal with men looking at you all the time. And because
Yeah.
we're really close, my two daughters, life has meant that we are like really close. They sort of tell me everything. And so it like, and I listen from a real, like from a dad's perspective. And so it just makes me, I think, quite passionate about this like whole thing. Like I'm really passionate about it because even I just seen do you know I just seen you know Katie Price's daughter. She's I don't know if she's got a podcast, but she's got it with Kerry Katona's daughter, right? And I just seen the most emotionally mature conversation between these two young women, right, about their experiences. And it just made me think you might I mean I've just done a video on it, but even a lot of men are saying, "Oh, you know, I have my wayward days," right? Because most men need to admit, nearly all men need to admit that when you're 19, 20, right, you are a fucking proper full-on misogynist, right? I mean, it's like crazy levels. But we get like, as a man, I can be like, yeah, in my night, like late teens, early 20s, I was wow wayward, treated women terribly, right? And it's almost just socially endearing for me to do that and be like, and
Yeah, it is.
I've
Yeah.
changed my ways. But women don't even get that privilege because
No, we don't.
if you
We're
go,
labeled slags or sluts.
and it will taint you for the rest of your life. So it
Yeah.
won't be endearing. It'll be like, oh, you were a slag, like fucking like you're tainted goods, and that will stay with you forever in most cases, right? So you
Yeah.
don't even get the privilege of having a wayward early life and being a little bit being a little bit crazy. And then furthermore, these two girls are sat like calmly talking about it. They wouldn't even allow to be angry, is it? I could make a podcast where I'm being angry with another bloke and it's all right.
Oh,
But
it would be fine.
if two women
Yeah.
do it, they're crazy, right? These two young
Yeah.
ladies would be crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, so obviously I didn't have an early, like, slutty era because I was in a relationship from like really, really young. I met my ex-husband when I was 17. I was 21 when I split up with him and got back with him. Um, and then, you know, we went on to get married, have two kids. But I needed to itch that fucking scratch bad. So like as soon as I got out of a relationship, I was like fucking giving CPR to every cock that I came in contact with. I just needed to check its pulse, bring it back to life with my hands in my mouth, like in a car park, wherever. Like I was, but I I say it like it was like 12 years ago. It was literally last year, but I recognize the fact that I haven't but I think do you know what I think it is? I have no shame around sex, around anything to do with my sexual appetite. There are spaces in which obviously I'm not going to fucking share what I did last week. So unless it's my friends or people that I trust, I'm not going to be like, oh, fucking God, you might not believe what happened. But the reality is, I have no shame over the fact that I did that. And I certainly don't fucking hide it either. And any man that has a fucking problem with that, get the fuck out. And I think there is a power in being, I'm 41, nearly 42. So there's a power of being in my 40s and going, this is me. I'm a deeply compassionate, kind, loving, caring person. And I know that because of the people that I have surrounded me. Like my mates are like fucking, they're not even gold standard, they're platinum. I would walk over fucking hot cars or go to the ends of the earth for them. Them and my kids are my world, they're my everything. So I know that I'm a good person, not only because I believe it in myself, but also because of the people I've got surrounding me and because of how fucking great my kids are. So I know all of these things. And I think if I want someone to come into my life, you're damn straight you need to accept the fact that if you can go off and have a fucking threesome, then I can do whatever the fuck I like in my single years as well. And I think that men who are threatened by women who have had a sexual past grow old lonely. Then I don't give a fuck. You could be fucking Henry Cavill. I don't care. Actually, I probably would care, but do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'd care a lot actually if it was him. I'd pretend like I was a virgin. But the reality is, like, as women, the only way that we can move forward with our own equality, with our own standards of, is by being open and honest and confident and going, this is who I am. And I can hold space for the fact that you have a past and whatever your past is, and I can sit and I can listen to it. But I need that same respect back. And if I don't get it, that's not my problem to sit with. It's yours. So I'm going to hand that shit back and say, bye.
Yeah. But in many ways, it feels like in current society, it's hard for people to do that, isn't it? Women still
I'm
can't.
privileged. I'm privileged. I am privileged.
Yeah, like the sort of person that you are, the platform that you are, and all of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And but also like age as well. Like I don't
Yeah.
think girls can do it when they're 20.
I couldn't have done it in my 20s. I'd have been so
Yeah.
ashamed of myself. And I was ashamed of wanting to have my slutty years because everybody else seemed to be settling down. And inwardly, I was always thinking,
Yeah.
and now I've done it and I'm like, oh yeah, it was fun actually. But I also think, and I'll say now, I come from privilege, not because of family, not because of that. I come from privilege because I have had access to private good therapy that I have had to fund myself.
Yeah.
And it has come at a cost like fucking hell. I've had some really problematic therapists, some really, really problematic ones. And the one that I'm in now, I do internal family systems, which is sort of befriending framework. I'm sure because obviously you know about it, people on your podcast will know about it. But I met my now therapist, Megan, just over 2 years ago. And it has taken her such a long fucking time to get me to trust her and to be able to work with her. And now my attachment with her is so fucking secure and our therapeutic relationship is so nourishing. And I think that it's really important to acknowledge because it's like, oh, she's got privilege. Oh, she's had private therapy. Oh, she's got a big platform. I've had to work my fucking ass off to get to where I am and to have a good therapist, to have had to have gone through really shit experiences. You know, I did it. The first form of therapy I ever did was EMDR. Have you heard of it? Have you ever done it?
Never done it, no.
I wouldn't recommend it.
You wouldn't recommend it?
No, I mean, I'm not qualified. I'm a fucking comedian. Do you know what I mean? So like anybody that's like, oh, you fucking cunt, just do you, honey. Like give it a go. But me personally, I think it didn't help that I didn't have a therapist that properly resourced me. So she kind of threw me straight into my trauma. And she was so arrogant and so narcissistic. But I adored her because she was saving me. And she was really helpful in some instances of like getting me to unpack some shit that I just wasn't aware of. Especially around my family dynamic. Like she was the one that kind of first introduced me to all of it and for me to read up about it and for me to understand it. And but what she was doing is that she was kind of like getting me to go into a trauma that I wasn't prepared to sit with, unpack, deal with, which meant that I was kind of like high-end disassociating and coming out of it, not having dealt with the trauma, but just completely fucking numb. And I personally think now, having had EMDR and now doing IFS, is that IFS is like the gentle, kind, compassionate version of EMDR. And I know that EMDR is massively pushed now, especially within the NHS, of like highly traumatized people because it's a relatively new, very quick working form of therapy. But now that I have understood the depths of what true compassion is meant to be about, and compassion is where we heal, compassion is where we move forward and let go. So we need to find that place of compassion. I personally found that compassion through being so gentle with the way that I introduced myself into my traumatic memories. And that was thanks to Megan. And I fucking adore her. She's like, sure, she saved my life. Like, I wouldn't be who I am today without her. And that is my opinion on EMDR. And I know that other people, and there could be therapists that listen to this that perform EMDR that will be really angry with that. It's my personal perspective as a client, and my experience as a traumatized person dealing with that.
Yeah. And it sounds like it was led by a not very good therapist, which, by
She
the
was
way,
unethical. She was
yeah,
unethical, yeah.
is some that's another that does not get talked about, which is
No, it
like
doesn't.
the fact
She's
that,
highly qualified as well, highly qualified.
yeah, and everybody wants to talk about like qualifications and stuff, right? And I'm like, I always say to everybody, yeah, but what about the people that are qualified? Like, don't fucking think just because they've got a
No.
ticket, right, that it means that they're safe. Because
Sometimes they're the biggest
they're the worst
narcissists.
ones. They're like
Yeah.
they're the worst ones. Like,
Hmm.
I know this will upset people, and I talk about this quite a lot. But I'm like, if somebody tells me they're a therapist, right? And I've got
Hmm.
lots of therapist friends, right? I've got lots of
Yeah.
friends some of the best that I know that are therapists, right? But if I've just met someone and they tell me they're a therapist, it's a red flag to me.
Yeah, same,
And I'm like,
same.
you need to prove yourself now because my assumption is that you're probably a narc, right?
Yeah, no.
And I know people don't want to hear that, but the reason I'm saying it is because I do think it's really, really important that, like, if you get a bad feeling about your therapist,
Yeah,
I'm like, you might need a new one, but it's hard
yeah,
enough to find your first one, right? And
yeah.
so
And
I,
when you're highly traumatized as well, all you want is someone to take the pain away. And that's
yeah,
what I did with my first therapist. I was just like, just make it go away. I don't give a fuck what you do, just make it go away. And she did that really effectively, you know. And then when I got
yeah,
into, and I have to say as well, sorry, I really interrupted you then, didn't I? You were halfway
no,
through talking.
no.
You were.
I don't remember if you did. I'm not even joking.
Okay.
I'm not trying to make you feel better.
I
I
think
don't.
you are. I
I'm
definitely
not.
interrupted you, and I'm really sorry.
I don't remember. Go on, carry on.
When I got into therapy with Megan, um, I imagine like a caged animal. I
Mm,
was like that. Didn't trust jack shit. And she was trying to do things in a way that I didn't understand. So to me, I literally, I therapy with her on Thursday. I was crying my eyes out, and I was like, "I'm so grateful for you because I know I wasn't a very nice person when we first met." She was like, "Yes, you were." I was like, "No, I wasn't." She's like, "Is that still bothering you?" I was like, "Yeah, 2 years on, it's still bothering me." Because I kept being like, why are you not behaving like my first therapist? Because I still idolized her and I couldn't understand why I was having a breakdown. I was like, what's going on? Like, why am I feeling like this? And Megan's approach was, you're not going to like this, Laura, but slow it is better. And I was like, no, 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 I don't want to do that. Just take me straight into the trauma. Just take me straight into it. I just want to be put through it. And she's like, how kind is that? And I'm like, what? Like it fucking floored me because I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, and she, there was kind of like that conversation of like, "What does kindness look like to you?" It's like, well, it's just like, shut up. That's enough. Get out. That's enough. No more. She's like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." And then as soon as I said it, I was like, "Wow, that's not actually great." And that was my inner dialogue. That's always been my inner dialogue, and that was that moment where she started sending me like audio things of like listening to what compassion is. And I was like, but if I'm compassionate, then I'm just going to let like this traumatized part of me get away with everything and I won't leave the house. And she's like, actually, the epitome of compassion is kindly saying to yourself, honey, I know this is fucking hard, but we've got to do this, but we're going to do it together. And that's compassion. So it just took a really long fucking time for me to get to a place where I was like, okay, this is going to be really difficult and I'm going to find this so hard and I'm going to be so fucking scared. but I'm going to do this, but I won't be alone because I've got me, you know? And I think that it's profound. It's profound. And it sounds like an easy thing to be able to create that relationship with yourself. But when you're a fully grown adult and at no point nobody has ever given you that level of kindness or compassion, it doesn't feel very nice at all. It feels infuriating, it feels lazy, it feels slow, it feels pathetic. You're filled with shame, you know, you're disgusted with yourself because you just feel like you're the only person that can't function. And then the more that I've adopted that, I can't imagine speaking to myself the way that I used to anymore. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
That listen, you're speaking like totally my language because if I look at like my own journey, by the way, with therapists, I had such a terrible experience with I think it was a counselor when I was about 20, that I went to see that just put me off him. And it was literally like he sort of pushed me to share a bunch of stuff with him, and then when I shared it with him, like he had like a breakdown in the room, like he was like crying and couldn't regain his composure, and then I was like, oh,
God.
and I was like, oh, it's okay. Like it wasn't that bad. I'm all right now, you know. And so like that put me off for a long time. And then I did a lot of like self therapy, if I'm honest with you, because I just couldn't. I didn't want to go in. I did some stuff here and there, and like I really hate the kind of, oh, poor you, like type. You know, like it's nice to be compassionate and be like, oh man, that must have been really hard for you. But some of them, sometimes I interact with therapists, or I have done in the past, and I can see straight away what they're trying to do is position themselves as like, oh, like I can save you. And I fucking hate that. I had that all my life
So
when I
do
was a
I.
kid. When I was a kid, I remember people trying to like fix and solve and save me, and I didn't want that. I wanted somebody to fucking understand me, and I didn't know that until ultimately, really, until IFS stuff. And I like so hear you on like the level of compassion that you find, because I always say, like, in the end, the most powerful question I ask myself on a day-to-day basis is, who am I? Who have I become here? And then I realize I've become one of these versions of myself. And the moment I do, I have an understanding of what's going on. And so, like, in like relationship, for example, like I can think of a time recently where I became a child part of myself. When I become a child part of myself, I become a man child, right? So in my relationship, I'm like, you fucking need to sort this out. I just can't be myself because how could I possibly be myself when you're like, you won't let me, and I've just got like, da-da, and then you go, like, it takes a little while, but then you go, oh, I'm being a fucking like man child here. But instead of what I used to do once upon a time, it's like, I'm a fucking disgrace, you know, I have such a level of compassion now where I can be way more like you would to a child, right? To your kids, which is like,
Yeah.
you're all right, man. Like
Yeah.
you're just being like this for this reason. This is what happens. But like it then like I get to this place where taking accountability for stuff is the most freeing thing you ever do, man. You know what I mean? It's like I'm almost addicted to finding where I can take accountability through like compassion. And IFS taught me that, man. And it just like you learn about the ways that you speak to yourself. And it's like you say, it's quite like I guess a slow thing, but it's very simple. And I'm always now like, if somebody's trying to teach me a healing method and it's really complex, like really complicated, I'm like, I don't think this is it, man. Because it's in the end, it's very, very simple. It's like not because a lot of self-improvement stuff in it is like it's like, look, if you do this, you'll be better and then you'll love
Yeah.
yourself. And it's like, actually, no. IFS goes, let's see all of you
Yeah.
and let's like love all of yourself, you know?
Love
And
all of you.
yeah,
Yeah.
and understand why.
It's even loving the parts of you that are your shadow. The
Exactly.
the parts of you, the narcissistic part of you, the jealous part of you, the you know, the envious part of you, the part of you that feels completely abandoned. I abandoned myself permanently. I was so disassociated from my feelings, in fact, that I just didn't have a feeling about anything. I always used to think that I was just happy all the time, but I actually just had a low, constant numbness. And if I ever went like that way or that way, fucking hell, be like, you're unstable, you're too much, you're crazy, you know. And these are people that fucking surrounded me. This is my family, right? Um, I haven't actually mentioned at any point, I'm completely estranged from my family. So my estrangement began, and I also just want to put a touch on something you said, Josh, as well, which is like so like, yes, when you said about a therapist, where client therapist, and that was what my first therapist was like. I had other therapy after her, but the thing that was so unethical about her, so we did EMDR for about 20 months, and then she kept trying to get me to go into a traumatic memory, and I always describe it as like, you know, like those long corridors of lights, and they're automatic and they all just slowly switch off. It was like that with my emotions. I went from being like really erratic, and I was crying and screaming and everything, and like I was tapping. That was my thing. She said, you got to keep going, got to keep going. And then I was like, I was no longer like really making noise anymore, and then I wasn't crying, and then I was just like completely numb. I had nothing. She's like, how are you feeling? I was like, I feel nothing. Did that 3 times in 3 sessions, and she went, I'm not going to work with you anymore, we're done here. And I was like, what? I remember I felt like my heart was being ripped out of my fucking chest. It was the most painful thing that I've ever been through. She said, my work's done here, you're not going to have another breakdown, I'm just going to reprocess you out of therapy. I then spent another 2, 3 years trying to get back with her, and she would always be like, no, try someone else, go somewhere else, I'm done, I'm done. So when I got into a relationship with Megan, a relationship like I'm fucking, you know, going down on her, but like therapeutic relationship, when I got into that relationship with her, um, she was like, we're together as a team, Laura, we're shoulder to shoulder here. And I was a bit like, no, I don't want that. I want you to tell me what to do, and I want you to tell me when I'm wrong, and this, that, and the other. She's like, oh, I'm not going to do that. So we're going to do it this way, because I want you to know that we're working together on this. Me and you. This is me and you, and we've got a relationship together, and I'm not better than you. And I'm going to fuck up. And I'm going to say stuff sometimes, and I'm going to upset you, and you're going to need to tell me that. And it was like, she's not old enough to be my mum. She's only a little bit older than me. So I've kind of got like this morphed relationship of like this invisible mum and an invisible sister, like the best fucking thing I could ever ask for, because she knows everything about me, and the cunt hasn't judged me once, you know? And like, I come to her and I'll be like, so this part of me's come up, and I don't really want to talk about it because it's uncomfortable, because it's like I'm envious, or like it's those parts of me that I feel so ashamed of. And then when she like gets me to kind of go back, and it's like, oh wow, it's just a really, really little part of me when I was really young and I was completely alone, and I can't really be angry. I don't want to ignore that part anymore, because it doesn't feel right to ignore what is effectively a small child. But getting back to on track, so I estranged myself from my family 2.5 years ago. My dad died really suddenly, and I had a very beautiful relationship with my dad. Um, and then I just couldn't be within the dynamic anymore. Now, I have spent my whole adult life really coming in and out of breakdowns, just never really being able to truly stay stable. And obviously, I was considered like the unwell one, the unstable one. Um, and then when I went into therapy 7 years ago, it was off the back of the fact that I'd had a major breakdown. And then 2.5 years ago, my dad dies. I estranged myself from my family within a week because of this fucking awful incident that had happened. And then, in amongst all of that, I'm trying to end my marriage. And in amongst all of that, I was like, fuck this. I'm going to plan a massive UK tour, and I'm going to go and do my brand new show that I've written, because I don't want to deal with any of that. I'm just going to continue to be disassociated because I don't want to deal with it. I'm going to go out and be funny. This massive tour, it was nearly sold out. And then the night before I was due to start it, I was just like, I can't fucking do this. I can't fucking do it. And I had a catastrophic breakdown. It was the most harrowing thing I've ever been through. Cancelled the tour, completely removed myself from social media. I couldn't leave the house. I lost ridiculous amounts of weight. I was just the shell of myself. And I was in therapy with Megan at the time. And I think as much as that was like one of the worst times of my entire fucking life, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody, it's also the best fucking thing that ever happened to me, because I hit that rock bottom, and that rock bottom went, you need to go and fucking save yourself now. And I'd already spent a lifetime waiting for someone else, my doctor or another therapist or my friends, to reassure me that I'm not crazy, because all of these narratives that have been put into my head ever since I was a child about the fact that I'm unreliable, I'm untrustworthy, I'm unstable, like all of it, they were what made me function. So I worked so fucking hard to be a better human being, and worked so hard to remove any feelings that weren't sort of numbness but outwardly showing extreme happiness. And then all of a sudden my body went, we can't fucking do this anymore, Laura. You can't. We're gonna die. Like, the amount of emotional stress you're putting yourself under. So I came out of that. I left my marriage, bought my own place, and I've slowly had to rebuild everything. So when I speak of my privilege, it is a privilege that I have built from fuck all. I have no family backup. I have no fucking inheritance funds. My career was built off of my whole family not supporting it until it became successful. And, you won't know my earlier stuff because you wouldn't have been around for that. But my earlier stuff, I used to do reality versus expectations. And my mum would always go, you look very ugly when you do it, Laura. You're such a beautiful woman. Like, why are you putting yourself out there into the world just looking so revolting? And you swear too much. That was another thing that, like, not just family, but some close friends were like, you swear too much, or you're embarrassing. Oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. So cringy. Like, oh, my husband doesn't even like to hear your voice in the house when I'm watching your stories. I have to make them quiet. Like, all of that shit from people who were closest to me, people that were meant to be like, I fucking got your back. I know that you're going to be whatever you want to be. Don't worry. We've got you. I didn't have any of that. I just had myself and a deep wanting for something to be different. So I think it's really easy to sit back and go, well, I can never do that because I don't have her privilege. I earned my privilege. I earned it the hard way. I earned it the lonely way. I earned it with very, very little support, and I earned it off of my own fucking back. So I think that I've been in that place before where I've looked at other people and gone, well, I'm never going to be able to get what they've got because they've got this. But in actual fact, that's not true. You are more than capable of being able to find those resources in life, whatever they might come as. And you said not that long ago, literally, you just said some of your therapy was like self-therapy. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. If you can't afford to have therapy, there's loads of resources out there now that allows you to learn things. And yeah, a therapist does help you to facilitate it. But if you can't afford it, it doesn't mean that there's no hope for you. It doesn't mean that you don't start, you know?
Do you think that, like, by the way, thank you for sharing all of that. I was like a little bit
Right.
emotional through some of the middle of it. Um, do you think that, like,
My life is shit. My life has been really shit.
No, that wasn't going to be my question.
It has been. Like, I've come from like all levels of abuse, so it's like I've had to be funny. Do you know what I mean? It was either that or become a prostitute. So
yeah, you didn't
or
try
sex
the other
worker,
one,
whatever you want
did
to
you?
call
Try
them.
the
No, to be honest with you, I sometimes think I should charge because I really do put on. I put a lot of effort in, and a lot of guys don't. Do you know what I mean? They just fucking show up. I've said that a million times over. Like, fucking hell, you fucking kidding me? I've shown up looking like this, and you're in fucking tracky bottoms. I'll still fuck them though. Sorry, carry on.
Oh, you keep making me completely lose my train of thought. I still fucking know. Um, what I was gonna say is it goes back to what we were saying at the beginning, actually, right? You know, like when I was talking about what men are doing in reaction to the Manosphere documentary, right? I think it shows a real. I feel like today everybody's trying to look self-aware, right? So everybody acts self-aware, and they put on this kind of facade of being that. But what I'm like attracted to in people is when people can call themselves out basically on everything and like be like, yeah, no, 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 I'm like this. And I actually don't need to do a video to show I'm one of the good guys because I
Yeah,
fucking know exactly who I am. And some of you
yeah,
won't think I'm a good guy, some of you will. And I think that like when I listen to you just talking about what you did, I think that I think humans in general, but if you have a particularly difficult start in life for whatever reason, you create a character and a facade of what you think is going to get you to be loved and liked, right? And whatever that
100%.
is, yeah. Um, and then when that whole thing just breaks and it falls under the weight of it, you know, and in your case you talk about like the death of your dad and then estranging and then your marriage, right? Um, for me, when I look back, I was very fortunate really that like I had a massive breakdown when I was 24, right? So then I stopped drinking, couldn't hang about with anyone that I was hanging about with because of all of that. And then I literally rebuilt myself from the bottom up with nobody to answer to because I didn't have anyone. So when you got no one, you start to go, well, actually, I quite like this version of myself, and this is kind of who I am, and I don't really give a fuck because you ain't got them friends now who are like, you know, um, I don't like it when you swear or whatever, you know? And so then, do you feel like that rebuilding from having nobody allowed you to build a version of yourself um, that you've become today? And then the second part of that question is, and this is probably a bit of a loaded question projecting from my own experience, do you feel a bit lonely being so aware of all of the versions of who you are because then you start to realize that there's not many people out there that sort of understand that.
The first question, yeah, I've never been prouder of myself. And I think that I'm proud because when I had my breakdown 2 years ago, my friends, so I've got two friends who I've known since I was four. They're my sisters. Like that, like the relationship I have with them is like I don't have in any other capacity. I can't always tell them about some of my dating experiences because I know that they will stress out so fucking badly because they'll be sick with worry. You know, like they're the girls that will be like, oh my god, Laura, no, don't invite them back. They might rape you, or they might throw you over the balcony, or like it's like I'm a 41-year-old woman and I feel relatively safe that I can manage this stuff. But they're like they worry for me on a level that I can't even express, you know? So it's like a family kind of led beautiful relationship. Then outside of that, I've got these other friends that I've kind of met along the way. What was the question? I've forgotten because I've fucking went off on
Do
one.
you feel like it's a bit lonely to like
No,
be
it
as
wasn't
aware
that
of
one. It was the
yourself?
first one. It was the first one.
You,
The rebuilding of me.
yeah.
So the rebuilding of me, sorry, the rebuilding of me has been an experience where I've looked around and like 2 years ago, these women who I didn't see for like 6 months, by the way, and I didn't talk to because I completely fucking cut off from everything, from society, from the world. They hadn't seen me for all this time, and then they were still there. And then I kind of like messaged my two best mates, Lindsay and Vicky, my friends since I was four. I messaged them one day and I was like, hey, um, Megan's told me that I really need to try and let you in because I've always hidden anything that wasn't disassociated numbness. And I cry all the time because I'm actually a deeply sensitive person and I feel deeply. I feel other people's feelings. I'm an empath, which such, do you not find the word empath such a wanker thing in the healing world? I'm an empath. Oh, fuck off, mate. If you're an empath, you're be bragging about it. It's fucking hard work. Feeling every other cunt's feelings in a room's exhausting. but I like, for the first time in my life, I was like, I feel everything, and I cry a lot, and like I worry about, you know, animals, whether they're going to get hit by a fucking car or not. Like, that's just who I am as a person. And Megan said that I need to start letting you in. And I sent that message out. Now, they haven't heard from me for months. And I don't even think it was like milliseconds before one of them was like, when? And the other one was like, we got you. And I was like, I can't go very far because I can't leave the house very much. And they were like, we don't care. We don't care. We just need to see you. Please, we just want to touch you. That reunion was so beautiful. We just stood in my doorway and we were just holding each other. And they were like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I love you so much. I love you so much. That was the rebuilding of me. It was those moments where these people that didn't need to fucking stick around, that also didn't need to be the people that loved me at my lowest, that were like, oh my God, we're so happy you're here. We don't even give a shit. Oh my God, you've lost so much weight, Laura. Your hair, you know, your hair looks beautiful. You look so wonderful. It was all of that. And then I've got all these other incredible friends that I have met along the way who are just fucking phenomenal. And again, who were like, we're not fucking going anywhere. We're not, you know, we love you. And we know that we're not going to hear from you, but we're going to be here waiting for you for when you're ready. So that rebuilding was so monumental. And like you, I don't drink either. But it was so monumental in me being able to be in these spaces that were really wholesome, where I didn't have to be around things that were really triggering. And I slowly, foot by foot, kind of trod myself out of all of it. But they were kind of all there with me. And they were like, we are never going to go anywhere. We see you and we love you. And now they see me cry all the time. And it's as stupid as it sounds, Josh. I had to keep practicing how to be vulnerable in front of them. Megan, I was like, as soon as I go to cry, everything shuts. I dissociate. She's like, it's because you don't feel safe. It's because no one's ever created safety for you in being that vulnerable. And now they're like, oh, Laura's crying again. It's all right, love. Let me get you a tissue. Do you know what I mean? Like they're cool with it. But yeah, the loneliness is shit, because it's like, I want someone who gets it, and no one can. And I think that's the hardest thing, is like, I'm so fucking aware of myself now. I don't know, you can't unknow that, can you? And so you do kind of like look at other people and you go, fuck, you really need to go to therapy.
Yeah.
Or fuck, like you're so fucked up, and you see all of it. Like, they're not saying it, but you can see it in the way that they hold themselves, in the way that they communicate, in the way that they touch other people, how they sound when they talk, like how they respond to questions, like all of that. Like, I can see all of it, and I'm like, okay, you can't see that, but I can. And I've definitely found it in dating as well, like being a person who is who I am and who has gone through what I've gone through. I'm an open and honest person. And if I need to say sorry, I'll just go, I'm really, really sorry. How can I repair that? And I'm not threatened by it. I don't even question saying sorry. I'm really happy to hold myself accountable. Guys don't do that. They won't. And like, from my perspective, it's a really innocent younger part of me that's like, I fucked up. We need to repair this. How do I repair this? And it's making sure that that younger part doesn't like beg and plead and like, oh, I'm so sorry, I promise I won't do it again. It's finding that like ebb and flow of being able to go, by the way, when I say that I openly communicate all of my life, because I'm not ashamed of who I am. And I love who I am. And I'm so loving and kind and giving. But trying to find something like that comes back, really fucking hard.
You know what it makes me think is that, and I'm just thinking, this is like, I'm thinking as you talk, it makes me think that like the lack of emotionally available fathers that we have, right? And by the way, when I say emotionally available, I don't just mean like dads that are not physically present. I mean emotionally available dads,
I'm
because
going to say that's a bigger issue, because if you've got a dad that's completely gone, don't get me wrong, obviously dads that are completely not physically present, you get fucked both ends, don't you? Because you don't have
yeah,
either.
yeah,
But to have a dad that is there, that is present, but is not emotionally available, people don't talk about how silently drowning and suffocating that is.
Yeah, and it's harder to spot. It's harder to
It
spot
is.
then as well, right? Like I've always said, in some ways, I'm quite lucky because I can go, look, here's what my dad was like, raging alcoholic, died when I was a kid, and everybody goes, yeah, that'll fuck you up. But if you've got a dad that's just there but never there, you know, he's there every day physically but not emotionally present. And by the way, like even emotionally present fathers, I think that most men like really, really struggle with like emotional literacy. And so I think a lot of boys reach adulthood where the only loving relationship that we've had with women is one where you emotionally take responsibility for everything. And so I think what happens is a lot of us, and I include myself in this by the way, like very strongly. I think we reach manhood and then we are searching for a new mum, right? And so we're so used to you taking emotional responsibility because that's what mums do, right? We're not we don't we're not used to taking emotional responsibility. And by the way, but then that, that is on us to understand that and realize that, and then when we're in our relationships recognize how often we default, because I'm reflecting here and I know that my default is to fall into the pattern of saying to all the women in my life, here's all my emotional shit, there you go. And then and we've created a bit of a new space with men where we're like, oh, we're good at being vulnerable now. So then we think that if I go, oh, I feel really down and here's all my difficult emotions. I'm so emotionally aware. Here they are, sort them out. Now you take
Yeah.
responsibility for them. You figure them out. You baby me. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is,
And I've had that as well. Like I've had, by the way, can I just say to you, and also potentially people listening, I don't know when my book is. Have you heard of Richard Schwartz?
yeah. The OG of
Yeah,
the, of,
he is the OG.
of
Have you
IFS. Yeah.
read You Are the One You've Been Waiting For?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Please read it.
All right.
Please
Deal.
read it.
Deal. I'm gonna
It
buy it
is
today. I'll buy it today
it
and read it.
is phenomenal because it actually he unpacks the premise of hetero relationships
Mm.
and why they break down the way that they do,
Hmm.
and how, oh my god, I get so excited about this book when I talk about it. It's so it's so fucking great. So it I read it, so like Megan said to me read it, and I was like, it's about fucking relationships, and I'm in my hoe phase. I'm not in my hoe phase anymore, but back then I was. And she was like, it would be really good for you to read it to understand relationships. And he basically unpacks the way that boys are raised and how what parts of them are exiled, and then the way that girls are raised and those parts are exiled. Now, boys are raised and they get to a certain age, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that boys don't cry, and like, come on, toughen up, and all of that shit of like, don't show any form of vulnerability. You need to suppress those feelings and be a healthy, like, fucking hunter gatherer. And then women are raised in a completely different way. And it's not even on a conscious level. And women are raised in a way that's nurturing and openly communicating. And I'm not saying that all women openly communicate, because we don't. And I'm not saying that all women aren't the problem. Women are cunts. We are. I'm not saying, but we are like, it's
No, I
not
get it. Yeah.
about men are bad, women are good. There is an equal part problem in both men and women.
Yeah.
And it is about being emotionally aware of yourself, which is what you've perfectly said. So, anyway, Richard, I talk about him like a fucking known. Richard then says about how you then get this hetero guy, hetero girl, they get into a relationship, they fall in love, la 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 la, and then the woman's like, okay, so I just like really want to like, I want to like you to communicate your feelings to me now, and like I want you to be vulnerable, and they're like, I'm gonna go to the gym. That's like, whoa, that doesn't make me feel very comfortable. And he talks about how he's had people in couple therapy, and about how it is just a mismatch of communication, of allowing a man but also allowing a woman, allowing both parties to be in a relationship where all parts can be vulnerable and all parts can be present. And that's the battle, is finding people who have a capacity to understand, even like you said earlier, like like that inner part of you that's like that child, so it's like a man child. For me, when I know that I've been triggered and like a younger part of me's come up, I'm like, I need to regulate my nervous system. What I really want to do is react. What I really want to do is like beg or plead or fucking lose my temper or shut down. And in actual fact, what I need to do is I need to communicate and go, I actually need to take myself away for a minute, and I need to recenter myself. I need to regulate my nervous system. And then if you're okay in a couple of hours, can we come back and have this conversation? And I do that because I know I am responsible for my triggers. When people are like, oh my God, you didn't give a fucking trigger warning. I am not responsible for your fucking triggers. I can be compassionate for them, but I do not, and nor can I be a person that goes through fucking life having to worry about everybody else's potential past trauma. It's not my fucking job, mate. So I find it really fucking infuriating when other people go, well, I'm traumatized. Yeah, mate, so am I. I was born in the 80s. Do you think it was an easy ride for me? Do you know what I mean? Like, I grew up watching fucking Alien, not Mary Poppins. It was a different time.
Yeah.
And I was one of three, and I was the youngest. My brother's 10 years older than me. My sister's 7 years older than me. You know, like, I had a really problematic childhood. I don't have a fucking mum. My dad is fucking dead, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm traumatized as fuck. But I'm not expecting you to hold space for my shit. I'll hold space for it. And I'll be able to like figure out emotionally where my edges are. And if I hit my edge and I think I'm about to fucking go into territory that I don't want to go into, I'm going to take myself away. I'm going to fucking figure my shit out. And then I'll come back to the conversation. And I think that that's what's lacking in so many relationships. It's not just sexual relationships or romantic relationships, whatever you want to call it. It's friendships, it's families, it's being in environments where people know how to fucking manage themselves, because there is not one bastard on this planet that is not holding some form of trauma. It's inevitable. Trauma is going to fucking happen whether you like it or not. It's
Yeah.
how you deal with it.
And it's that, you know, a lot, 100% behind everything that you've said. And that's why I think so much in the end leads back to like accountability. Like within a relationship, that piece that you said of like, I need to take a bit of time. I know when I'm in a childlike state, right? And so actually sometimes I need to be able to communicate. I'm in a childlike state at the moment, and I will say this within my relationship, not just like you say, not just romantic relationships, but all my relationships. Like I'm in a state at the moment where all I can think of, or I'm trying to be nasty and narky to you, and I'm trying to manipulate you. I'm trying to be passive aggressive. I'm trying to get you to feel hurt like I feel. I need to go away, realize why I've gone into this state if I can, and then listen. I'm going to come back, and then I can revisit. I can come back and I can go look. Here's the truth of what happened. Here's why I think we've got tangled up in that. And I think that what ends up in a lot of relationships is that, and I do think that like men are particularly good at doing this, which is like just handing over the emotional load and the emotional responsibility to their partner. And then I do think that we are now in this phase where you'll hear a lot of men saying, oh, women want you to be vulnerable, but as soon as you're vulnerable, they don't like it. And I think that's because we sort of started doing this stage where we're like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to talk about when I'm sad or whatever. But we have reached a stage where we talk about it, but then we don't fucking do anything with it. We just give it to you. And then all of a sudden, like as women in the relationship, you're like, the fuck do you want me to do with that? I don't know how to fix that. And then so like you'll either withdraw or you'll like throw it back or you'll come across like you're not comfortable with like what I've heard. Where actually, like if you want to talk about masculinity, and I don't even really like I think everybody should just be themselves actually. And I think the moment that we try to try and box stuff in, I think people should just be who they are. But like how I honor how I should honor relationships that I'm in is take responsibility and accountability for who I've become in any given moment and not expect you to do it, you know? like not expect you to do it. Go away, reflect. And sometimes that reflection and processing can take a while, yeah? I can have a full day of like, nah, like this is fucking her and she just needs to da 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 da. And I'll go and then sometimes I get after a few hours I'm like, oh my God. I come back to that compassionate bit that you're on about and I go, oh, I'm being this version of myself and I'm being that version of myself. And the more that you learn them versions of yourself through like you, I'm like you, yeah, just through like IFS, you start to realize I normally become that version of myself when I'm scared. I normally become that version of myself when I'm feeling lonely or not heard, right? So why would I not be feeling heard in this moment, you know? Or why do I feel fucking sad? Whatever it is, and through my own processing, I can then bring that to you in the relationship and go, okay, I've figured out that I feel quite lonely at the moment and I feel like I'm not being heard. So here's the discussion that we actually have to have rather than making you have a discussion with the 5-year old who's throwing his toys out of the pram because he don't feel like anyone's heard him. Does that make sense?
Honestly, like bang on the money. I've got two things that I want to say to you. First thing, which I wanted to say to you about half an hour ago and then I forgot, but I'm going to say it now, is the video that you did in response to the Jim Carrey thing, where you were like, everyone's going, this isn't you. And you're like, yeah, it fucking is me. I loved that video because it's you saying, I'm not always going to be fucking perfect. And if you're expecting me to be that, I'm going to disappoint you because I'm like everybody else. I'm not a fucking messiah. I'm not a god. I don't want to be a god. I want
Yeah.
to say that sometimes I love to have a good fucking bitch. Don't we all?
Yeah.
Or sometimes I like to have an opinion on someone's appearance. Don't we all? But
Yeah.
again, it's because society goes, oh, well, no, we can't. No, well, I don't do that. I don't gossip. Yes, you fucking do, you cunt. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, pull your head out your ass. Don't
Totally.
and also don't be fucking sitting here and judging me because I put shit out online while you go to your best mate's house and then you fucking give it stacks about someone else that you choose to not like.
Yeah.
Like just because that version of me you don't like it doesn't mean that that version of me is bad, wrong, or shameful.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that I want to touch on is actually you take a hell of a lot of responsibility for men. But from a female's perspective, I also feel like, and Richard Schwartz talks about it in this book, I also feel like some or a lot of women, and I definitely used to be that type of woman, I used to get the ick, and women will get the ick, of men who are vulnerable when they have not dealt with their own fucking shit and probably abandonment wounds and the masculinity and societal norm of men not being too vulnerable. And I think that some men, and in my opinion, I have this saying, and this is what has helped me through dating, is I say to myself, what is meant for me won't pass me by. And I do believe that. I
Yeah.
know that when I meet my person, and who knows, your person shouldn't be your whole lifetime, it's all the time it's working. I know that when I meet that person, it will work
Yeah.
and it will just feel effortless. It won't be that it doesn't come with work, but what I mean is that you won't get the ick over uncomfortable conversations. You won't be abandoned. And I think abandonment is a big thing. It is for me. So, like, I know that my own personal abandonment wound is pretty big. So, I will always communicate to somebody, like, if I'm going to be going out for the whole day and I'm not going to be able to message him all day, I'd be like, just to let you know, I am here, but I'm doing this, so I'm not going to be able to message you because that's an important thing for me to give because I know it's an important thing for me. And like you said, I need to go away and I'm gonna come back. And that is like fucking gold because that's the shit that people need to know. And a lot of the time when we're in relationships, we don't have that level of like, is it predictability or is it continuity? It's emotional safety because that person gets in a shitty mood and then they fuck off and you never know whether they're coming back or not. But if you've had an upbringing where you have been abandoned either physically or emotionally, for me it was emotionally and physically actually, if you have had that in your childhood, then you will find it really fucking hard to regulate your nervous system while they're gone, because you have no idea how they're coming back. Are they going to leave you for good? What X, Y, and Z? Like, there's no level of communication. So being able to say, I'm triggered, I will be back. Promise you that's not what I'm here for. And we can talk about this when I'm in a more centered place, and maybe you're in a more centered place. And I think that women are just as guilty at shutting men down. And maybe that's an uncomfortable thing that people don't like to hear, because I think there's a hell of a lot of emphasis on the fact that women do no wrong. Women do a lot of wrong. We do. And we also have to hold accountability for the fact that some women just want men to be manly. They want men to show up and not be too complicated. So women are just as guilty for it, and then they go, oh, well, like, they don't do this and they don't do this, well, do you give him space to be able to cry and express his feelings? Well, no, I don't want to fucking hear that. Oh yeah, but you want him to show up and listen to your emotional load, but because he can't listen to your emotional load, and then when you try and listen to his and he really opens up to you, you then shut him down. What do you want? What, you
Yeah.
can't have half a person, you've got to have all of them.
Yeah.
That's also the side of them where they do break down in tears and cry, and you hold them like a child and say, it's okay, I'm not going anywhere. I can't take this away. So I always say to my kids, and I say it to my friends as well, I cannot take away this pain, but I will sit, and I will sit there until this pain passes, and I promise you it will pass. And it's really intense. And like Megan has this perfect description. She always comes up with these like wild analogies, and I fucking love them. And she's like, imagine you're on a roller coaster and like you're holding on, and you know that there's like that tipping point where you just come back down again, but you're kind of like holding on, and you're kind of waiting for that peak, and you're constantly like, is this the peak? Is this the peak? Because those feelings are really intense and really overwhelming. You got to hold on and wait to come over the other side, and that will happen. And I think that's such a perfect description. And that's how I function so many points of my life, where I'm like, this feels so overwhelming, like the grief is so painful, like my tears physically feel like the pain. I can feel like what I'm feeling in my body, and it's so overwhelming. And I say to myself, it's all right, sweetheart, this is going to pass. This isn't going to last forever. And also, that part of your brain, it doesn't understand the fucking concept of time. So that part of your brain's like, we always feel like this. It's like fucking Eeyore, you know? Oh my god, it's the worst feeling in the world. I'm never going to get better. I'm never going to be happy. I'm never going to find someone to fall in love with. I'm a fucking waste. It's all of that shit. And while all of that's coming out, you've just got to be like, it's all right, darling. I know. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I got you. Like, how fucking powerful is that?
Yeah. And it shows you like the reason we're able to have the two-way conversation is because the understanding's on both sides. And I really hear you when you say that bit about like I'm gonna like either you're triggered or I'm triggered, and right now all I want to do is bite your head off. I love you very much, but I'm
Mm,
gonna go for a bit and I'll come back. I'm coming back. I'm not running away,
yeah.
but we need a bit of space. And I think when you've grown up with like any level of a sense of abandonment, right, for whatever reason that it is, the whole going away bit is the bit that you're terrified of. And so I think that
Yeah.
what, like, when I look at my own patterns of my relationships, is I then cling on really tight. And like, I don't want you to go away. I want to figure it out right now, because if you go away, you might find somebody else and not come back. Right?
Yeah.
That's what that child version of me is terrified of. But
Yeah.
and so, but if you don't notice that, you remove autonomy from both of you within the relationship, because to give you your autonomy, right, to let you have your own sense of self, to let you have some things that you um deal with on your own, figure out on your own, or with your friends, right, away from me, or like the fact that sometimes in order to be able to stay within relationship, you need to go and speak to somebody else, right? All of that, when you've got abandonment issues, feeds the fear. And so subconsciously, when you're not aware of it, you slowly try to remove all of that, right?
Yeah.
Remove that, like remove their support systems, keep them close to me, make sure they always use and need me. Because if they always use and need me, then they won't go anywhere. And so
Yeah.
when you grow up in unhealthy, like dysfunctional family systems, you don't learn that healthy attachment, which is like,
Yeah.
I get to be me, I get to be in my autonomy, you get to be you get to be in that too. And we can live these two individual lives, but very, very connected without fear that letting you be you and have you and be yourself is going to mean that you potentially might go. And like
Yeah.
I certainly know for me, uh, in my relationships of all kinds, um, my deepest fear is always you're going to go. You'll
Yeah.
go in the end. Sooner or later, you'll figure me out and you'll realize I'm too much, right? And so what I slowly do through no fault of you within the relationship is I slowly soften all of my edges, you know? I'm a bit hyper once and I noticed that you can't quite hack it that time. So then I never be that hyper again because I don't want
Yeah.
I feel rejection when you're not in the same energy. And then I just morph into this version of myself that I think you want to be because that's how I hope that you'll stay, you know?
Yeah.
And
A
like,
hundred. This used to be me. Yeah. I was
yeah,
a chameleon. Yeah.
yeah.
I
And
was
so
a total
like,
chameleon.
you have to like, for me, like, what we're talking about is this is the proper work. And you see, there's so much stuff online, um, that's just bullshit. It's just like new ways of trying to make yourself acceptable. Like spirituality world, I think is full of it, right? It's like, oh, I can just become this spiritual version of myself and I'll talk like this and show that I love everybody. And it's like, no, you're just doing the fucking same thing, right? Because true
Yeah.
spirituality, in my opinion, is like, yeah, I fucking swear a lot because that's who I am. So I'm gonna carry on being that. And if you don't like it, that's cool because I'm not pretending to be something else.
Yeah.
So you don't go. And that Jim Carrey thing, just to bring this massive monologue to a bit of a close from what I'm saying,
No,
but
it's not at all.
it is what fascinated me about the Jim Carrey thing is that people idolize certain people and
Yeah.
believe that they've reached this realm where they are so spiritually enlightened that they're not going to be unhappy with what they see in the mirror when they're 60 years old. And they're not going
Yeah.
to use all of their fortune. And so people find it easier once they've put them on such a pedestal, people find it easier to believe that the government have killed him and cloned him and sent him to an award ceremony. Like, not, if the government for some reason wanted to kill Jim Carrey because he knows about paedophilia, which is what a lot of them were saying, right? They would just pretend that he took his own life, right? I don't think that they would clone him and send him to a fucking award ceremony. But people find it easier to believe that than to believe that this guy who's like spiritually open and done a bit of work on himself could still think he needs a bit of filler and a bit of Botox. And people were even responding to me saying, but you need to understand that's why we live in, because, people like him and people like you would never have Botox. And I was like, what, you
Yeah.
think I would never have Botox? I've not
Yeah.
had any, but you don't think I look in the mirror and think I fucking look terrible, right? I do,
Yeah.
I do all of the time because I've done the work on myself and I know that I think those things about myself. The
Yeah.
work doesn't stop me thinking them. It just gives
No.
me the awareness of them.
Yeah. 100%. Like it's the same where people are like, yeah, but you'll never get Botox. The fuck I won't. I will. I haven't had it yet. But
Yeah.
also, I won't fucking hide it. I don't give a shit. Like I have again, it comes back to that no shame. Like I have no shame over the fact that at some point or another I will no doubt have it, and I will at no point in any way, shape, or form deny it because I don't see the fucking point in pretending like I'm aging like J-Lo. Like Jennifer Lopez. I've taken the piss out of her before. Fucking hell, don't do that. Jesus Christ, the lynching mob will come after you. But again, it's like because they're like, oh my god, no, she's Jenny from the block. The fuck she is? She's a fucking cunt. Like she treats people like fucking shit. You
Yeah.
know? But you
Yeah.
put her on a fucking pedestal, and I mean, you've probably had it before as well, where people. I went for a dog walk literally the other month, and I had my headphones on, which are noise cancelling headphones. And the woman screamed so loudly, I heard her, and I was like, "Oh my god, what?" She was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it! You're here, you're here!" And I was like, "You're like, I just shop in Lidl's, like." Like I'm a really underwhelming person to be around. I'm just very normal. But I want people to know that. Like when
Yeah.
I perform on stage, I always give the last 2 minutes of every show to the person in the audience that's thinking about taking their own life, because I want them to know I
Wow.
know what it's like to be in I know what it's like to be in like plain sight and be so fucking so trapped inside that I feel like that's the only fucking thing to do.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've done that. I've been that person. I've walked that road. And I can fucking guarantee that for every single room that we walk into, there will be someone having those thoughts. And thoughts and actions are two very different things. But the reality behind suicide is it's a point where you go, I'm so fucking in so much psychological pain. And your brain is throwing out a million different fucking ideas a day. Every single thought technically is intrusive because we don't ask for our thoughts. They just happen, don't they? And some of our intrusive thoughts are really horrible and scary. But the more time and energy we give to them, the more our brain goes, fucking great. Oh my God, I can't believe I thought of this. Let's think about it some more. That is the point of it. And when we're suicidal, our brain is kicking out a million different fucking ideas of how to solve the problem. It doesn't necessarily mean that we do something with it. We have to sit through it. Again, it's that roller coaster analogy of like, you've got to ride through this psychological pain and know that you will come out the other side of it. And it's harrowing and it's scary and it's shit and it's unfair. And no, you don't deserve to go through it. But that's why I like to make sure that people know I'm just a fucking human being. I am nothing special. I am a person who somehow has been funny enough to get a career, but at no point has anyone validated that other than myself. I'm the only person that's ever validated the fact that I thought, well, I'm good enough for this, that I kept pushing forward and pushing forward and pushing forward. And in amongst pushing forward through all of that, I've done 9 years, is it? 9 years of online, I think. Yeah. And those 9 years have also meant that I have completely walked away from a family who I used to fucking adore, got divorced, bought my own place, like all of these long list of things. And some of that was so fucking private that nobody knew it was going on. While also being that person that was like, let me like fucking make you laugh. And, I didn't talk about my family estrangement for a really long time because I was fucking scared. The last conversation I had with one of my family members, they fucking threatened me. So I was really scared. And the words were, you ever fucking talk about us online, I'll be at your front door. Now, considering the fact that my family are the most conservative, fucking, straight-laced, well-spoken, beautifully presented people in very nice cars and nice homes and everything's perfect, there's me. You know what I mean? Like, who are people who are going to fucking believe? Me or them? Me or them? So I stayed quiet, and for a long time I lied when people were like, how's your mum? Because obviously my dad had died. How's your mum? Yeah, she's all right. She's doing really good. I was fucking lying because I was so scared to say I've estranged myself. That took a lot of work because I know, and it has been, when I've turned around to people and said I've estranged myself, they've been like, what? Why? They don't get it.
They won't
And like
compute it. Yeah.
they will never get it because it doesn't make any sense. And I always think to myself, for those people that have my family's back, which is fine, I'm not here to be at war. I am at peace with my decision. I fully understand why they are the way they are. It makes perfect sense. And so I can hold deep levels of empathy for them and also hatred. I can have both those feelings, and I know that they're both valid. So I used to be so desperate for people to believe me. And now I'm like, they deserve to have a life with people in it where they are believed in the same capacity that I do. So I'm not here to try and prove my innocence. I don't need to. My innocence is my story. And I know that if for whatever point, for whatever reason, if anyone ever wanted to turn around to my family and say, Why? Why did she estrange herself? What happened? Ask them what happened. Because I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. So ask, who kept her safe? When you knew, who kept her safe? And that is the most fucking heartbreaking reality that I had to come to terms with. And I lived a whole life being told that I was the person that couldn't keep a secret. And yet I kept every fucker's secret. I kept everyone's. I was brilliant at it. Amazing. And I've now come to realize actually I'm really fucking good at sitting and listening to people, holding space for them. And I'm really good at also listening to what people have to say and not spreading it anywhere. But I was so ashamed of the fact that I hated that they thought that of me, and I was always desperate to prove to them that I wasn't like that. And I was getting all of this information from different places and never sharing it with anyone else. And like, where was all of that meant to go? Eventually, it was all just going to collapse. And I think that Megan has kind of taught me to realise that my breakdowns are one of the most phenomenal ways in which my body says we need to stop. And I used to be so ashamed of them because it was like, oh, Laura just doesn't manage to be stable for very long. She's very unwell and, you know, all of that stuff. I just don't understand why this happens to you, Laura. I just don't get it. And I remember the first time I said to my mum, I was, you know, I just kind of first went into therapy, and my first therapist had said, I don't believe this is a chemical imbalance, Laura, in your brain, because this is obviously what I was being told. I think this is trauma. And that was the first time anyone had ever said that to me. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And obviously Google it, read it. I remember physically shaking when I had to tell my mum that, when I had to say to her, she thinks that these breakdowns are a direct result of trauma. And I didn't even want to be in the fucking room. I didn't want to be in my own body. It was awful. It was horrible. And I was probably in that EMDR, and so much was coming up, stuff that obviously always been there, but I hadn't fucking dealt with it. And after about 7 weeks, I was like, I can't see you. I can't. It's really important to acknowledge my mum did not sexually abuse me. And that's really fucking clear. None of my family members sexually abused me. It was somebody else. That's really fucking important to make that clear. But she didn't protect me. And so I had to step away. And I didn't want to go back to having a relationship with her. But my then therapist, her ethos is I don't actually support people not having a relationship with their parents because it does more damage than good. So I pushed myself to get back into a relationship with my mum, and then spent however many years trying so fucking hard to manage it. But it was so fucking hard. It was so hard. It was agonizingly difficult.
Did you back to do that?
Mm.
Yeah, that's so common.
Yeah, and then it's wild, right? So the therapist that I was with when my dad died, she was really great. And I was waiting to get into IFS. So she was kind of like a stopgap while I was on Megan's wait list. And she had said to me, this is the thing, like she almost fucking was like a fortune teller. She had said to me, I don't think it's a good idea that you are within this relationship with your family because it's really, really fucking toxic. And she said, they are going to do something, Laura. Like, in fact, she said, imagine there's a board game, right? And she said, it's their board game and you're playing on it. And sometimes you're going to think you've got 12 steps ahead, but there'll be 16 steps ahead. So the easiest and best thing for you to do is just not fucking get on the board game. Just let them be on it. You don't need to play. And she said, my biggest concern, Laura, is that they are going to do something that is going to make you look unstable, crazy, irrational. And she kind of like described it as like a ladder. She's like, for every single time you take some few steps away, they're going to want to knock you off because they want you to be where they expect you to be. And the further you try and get away, the more extreme their actions will be. And I remember thinking, all right, they're a fucking cunt, but they're not that bad. Then my dad died, and a week later, shit went down. And I, for the first time in my life ever, and I was 39 at the time, I was on the phone to my mum, and I fucking, I went, I both barrels doesn't even touch the sides of how much I fucking lost it. I went ape shit. I called her a fucking cunt. I called her everything. I was like, I'm done. I'm fucking done. I don't want to fucking do this anymore. I'm done. I'm out. And I hung up the phone. And then immediately, obviously, because back then I just didn't know what to do, I messaged her and I was like, God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to lose my temper. That really wasn't the right way for me to respond. But I really feel like I'm being ganged up on right now, and it hurts because blah, 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 blah. And then I recognized in that moment, I was like, shit. They've literally done exactly what my therapist at the time was telling me they were going to do, is that they did something. And so they did. I'm considered unstable, and Laura's mentally unwell, and she went berserk, and it was really scary. And as a family, we're really, really worried about her mental health, and we just hope that she's okay. And it was a really scary, awful incident, and it came out of nowhere. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, of course. But I don't have a need, want, desire. I don't give enough fucks to rewrite that for them. I'm like, all right, that's fine. You can think that. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's not going to fucking impact my life.
Yeah.
And
That's
then the
the
people around them, it's like, all right, well, think that. I'm okay with that. I don't mind.
yeah. It's the only choice you have in those situations, right? This is what I tell
Yeah.
people is because you'll never win. I mean, if you try and like engage, you just give them more supply to carry on the narrative, right? It's only ever
Yeah.
more supply for them to carry on the narrative. Um, it's mad that the therapist is so, you know, it's so common um, for people to go to therapy and have a therapist that is either really overtly or sort of like quietly and gently trying to push them back into a relationship, you know, even sometimes directly with the person that's abused them, right? Just because
Mm.
it's their parent and they believe through their own teachings and their own bias that, you know, you have to mend the relationship, you have to forgive, and you have to get back like in them. It's so damaging. Can I ask you something? And you might not be able to, you might not want to answer it.
No, that's all right.
Did you discover it? Did the sexual abuse happen when you was a child?
Yeah, I was 5. Yeah.
And like this sounds like a stupid question, but you knew about it all your life?
Yeah. Yeah. So I knew about my sexual abuse all of my life. And the narrative was just repeatedly put in was, you come from a wonderful family, you're very, very lucky, everybody loves you, we are a really close family. You know, that was a small thing that happened, but it hasn't impacted us. I mean, it fucking did. It
Of
impacted
course.
all of us.
It would,
All the whole family. We were
yeah,
never ever the same after that.
yeah.
um
Was the person punished or anything like that that did it?
no,
It was
no.
so like I don't need detail, but it was pushed under the carpet, and you were told, "We've got a great family. Forget about it." Like, you know, shit
Yeah, so
happens type thing.
growing up, I had an eating disorder, and I was a self harmer, and I was called selfish, spoiled, like ungrateful, because I was doing stuff as a teenager that was obviously deeply problematic. And I have, you know, I have forgiveness for the fact that that was the 90s, and people just they didn't have an awareness or an understanding. And my dad didn't. How do I put it this way? If my dad had been in the vicinity of, he would have ripped the fucking door off of its hinges. I would never have ever been in any form of danger. So that's the difference. Now my brother and sister are obviously not involved in this because they were, you know, whatever ages they were at. But my parents' decision to not go to the police was, we don't want anyone snooping around in our business, because then social services will get involved. and we don't need anything. It was status. It was like the how does the family look as a direct result of this? And it's taken me a really long time to be brave enough to share this, because this is my story and I'm not ashamed of it, but it has shaped who I am as a person. And I have I have had to, like my dad said sort of 7 years ago, bless him, he was like, he used to call me Lolly. And I remember we were sat at the dining room table, and my dad is a deeply emotional person like me, so he like literally all of his feelings were external. And he held my hand, and this was obviously after I'd said this is to do with trauma, and he said, Lolly, my sweetheart, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, because if I could take it back now, I'd go straight to the police. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. I would have wanted justice for you. I would have. Now, can we acknowledge this fact that a parent who can right their wrongs by saying, I'm so sorry, do you understand the significance of that? Like my old therapist and also Megan now have spoken about the fact that family therapy with parents that actively go to therapy, take responsibility for their actions and change their behaviours and choose to be a lot more nurturing and compassionate and listen and actively really go to fucking family therapy and do the work. They have seen these symptoms of things like absolute crushing symptoms of bipolar and borderline personality disorder go. Those symptoms have gone as a direct result of family members saying, we're sorry, what can we do? We're listening, let us be part of this. So I think it's really important to acknowledge the fact that this is not about being a perfect parent, because we won't be. I'm fucking my kids up. I know that. I am, and I have. And I've even said that to the boys. I'm like, at some point or another, the day that you say to me, Mum, I need to go to family therapy with you, I'll be so fucking happy, because any shit that I have accidentally given to you, I want to fucking take it back, mate. I do not want you to carry anything that I have inadvertently given to you. And I am, and I have, and I am not a perfect human being. And there will be things, especially because they've been there throughout breakdowns, where they are traumatized children and they are having to have the repair work of that. And it's taken me a long time to forgive myself for the fact that my kids have been around me when I've not been mentally stable. But I also know, for the first time in my life, hand on fucking heart, I'm not going to have another breakdown. I know that the work that I've done gives me a capacity to be and feel safe with who I am, who I allow in and out of my life. And, from a healing perspective, my dad gave me something that nobody else in my family ever gave, which was accountability and apology. And that meant a lot. And I've not forgotten it, and I never will, you know?
And you only have to listen about the way that you speak about your dad from the beginning, right? You don't, it's not because he was perfect and never made any mistakes. It's because he give you the validation that you need and deserve. And it's crazy that, like, with the work that I do online, it's crazy the level of people's ability to not understand what I'm talking about. When I'm like people are like, define toxic, I suppose you're a perfect parent. I'm like, no, like I like, I think the only thing I can hope for, like you, I always say, the only thing I can hope for is that when my kids are ready to do some work, they'll call me and they'll say, Dad, I'm doing some therapy and you've come up, can we talk? And I won't go, wow, you fucking don't know what it was like. I'll go and I'll be like, yeah, man, 100% you're right. Like,
Also,
100%.
like what you've just said about those people that are like, oh, yeah, like when they kick off, and it's like, okay, so this is the triggered part of you that doesn't want to hold accountability for your own
Yeah,
fuck ups. And I imagine right now, while you're doing this, you are actually having flashbacks of some description of where you have fucked up, but it's so uncomfortable that you're trying to outwardly get rid of it. You're trying
yeah,
to push it away because you don't want to sit with how fucking horrible it feels
yeah,
to have been that parent. But FYI, we're all that parent,
yeah, exactly.
you know?
Exactly. And it just shows you the power of accountability and the difference that, like, even that moment that your dad gave you. And by the way, like, you said something like he sort of held your hand or something like that. And like, I feel like what you were describing on a deeper level is it wasn't about what he said, it was about the moment that he gave you, where he like saw you and held you. You know, it doesn't really matter what he say, but like he saw you and held you and said like, I hear you, I see you, basically, though he didn't use those words, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Did
yeah.
I have a question. Did you, if I'd have asked you when you were like 20, how would 20-year-old you have described your childhood?
Wonderful.
Yeah, right. Because do you know what I find fascinating when we talk about trauma is that like like rationally, when you're like struggling in your adulthood, right, and you've told us that you've experienced like childhood sexual abuse, right? Like it should just be so simple that that should be the first thing we should be looking at, right? Not it's obvious, like rationally, that that's the thing. But I was the same with like I thought there was so much wrong with me, and I went to NACOA, which supports children of alcoholics, and I didn't think I was the child of an alcoholic because my dad died when I was a kid, and I had a pretty perfect childhood. And then like I started talking to these charity that supports children of alcoholics, and I was like, fuck, this is me. And I see it time and time again on the sort of speaker circuit for people talking about mental health. I see people talking about like eating disorders and all that kind of stuff. And I see them in the early days when they're doing this stuff, speaking about it. They're making content about how, it doesn't have to be to do with trauma because I had the perfect childhood and look how bad mine was, right? And then you see them again 5 years down the line and they're talking about the abuse that they experienced when they was a kid that they were just had buried and pushed down. And like, I wonder how many people in our society, um, have been like diagnosed with things because they've grown up in a dysfunctional family. Um, but they
Yeah.
think they've had the perfect childhood and they're still close with their mum and dad, even though it's fucking toxic as fuck. And so when they're trying to figure out what's wrong with them, they don't even look at their family and their childhood because they're so, they've convinced themselves so strongly that it's nothing to do with that, you know?
Yeah, it was only until I went into therapy, what, it would be 8 years now. Yeah, 8 years ago. Or is it seven? Doesn't fucking matter. Whenever it was. Up until that point, I was like, my childhood was perfect. I just had sexual abuse, but that's nothing. That's not a big deal. It's like that was nothing. Everything else was perfect. And I imagine my then therapist was like, okay, my barometer's up, like, and we've got some work to
Yeah.
do.
Oh, we're gonna
So
get her to see this, yeah.
yeah, and also like she got me to see my family dynamic and how it functions and how it works and how it's always worked, and it made perfect sense to me. My biggest heartache that I will carry until the day I die is I miss the relationship of my siblings. So I carry my brother and I had a really wonderful relationship and I adore him, but we can't have a relationship. So I adore him from afar. And I think that's another really beautiful thing that I want to kind of touch on is that sometimes when you have to walk away from a family dynamic, you have to walk away from everyone, and some of them you don't want to fucking walk away from, and how fucking painful that is. And we have actually had a really beautiful ending where we've both gone, can't be in each other's lives. We trigger the fucking shit out of each other. But God, I love you so much and I'm always going to love you and I just want the best for you. And I'm so pleased to have that with him. And I don't publicly talk about that because I mean I'm okay to talk about it because I'm not saying anything bad about him. But I think that there are elements of your own personal life that you keep private. And I'm a pretty open book, but when it comes to some parts of my life, I'm fiercely protective. My kids, for a start, um, like I guess because I came from something like that, my protective side in the people that I love and care for, I'm like that part of me is fierce as fuck. Like it is like nothing you'll ever come across. And I used to hate that about myself. I used to hate the fact that I was like so protective because it always felt like it was too much. And now I'm like, what a fucking incredible quality that your kids will come to you and go, I had a really hard time at school. For them, you to be able to go, okay, do you need me to step in? No, let me deal with this. Okay, because you know that when I fucking step in, shit will get done, and it will. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if someone lays a finger on my kids, you get the wrath of me, and I'm telling you now, it's not nice, because I've been the child of somebody that didn't have that. And you know, like, I do forgive the fact that my parents didn't know better. They didn't know what to do because it was the 80s, and and it was so unknown. I'm okay with that. I think that that's the thing that people seem to think the issue is. Well, it's historic, it's old. Why are you bringing it up? It's because you didn't take any accountability for it. It's because you didn't once say sorry. It's because you didn't once sit with the discomfort of how you fucked up so monumentally, and you allowed me to be raised within a home that wasn't safe for me emotionally in any way, shape, or form. And then every single time that I acted out in a behaviour that was considered problematic, I was called selfish for it, when in actual fact I was fucking screaming for help. And I needed somebody to just love me, but love me unconditionally, and nobody could. So the only person that's ever loved me unconditionally is me. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. And I think that actually, if you can love yourself unconditionally, you can get yourself through every single heartache that happens, from grief to being, you know, dumped. You actually, I want to touch on this. You said earlier on in the podcast about um like guys dumping all of their emotional shit on women, and then when a woman goes, this is my emotional shit, they abandon you. And I had that last year, actually, and it still fucking hurts now, because I've never felt anything like I did for him. And he had given me all of his shit, and I sat and I listened, because I'm fucking great at that. I can hold space for anyone, and I obviously cared so fucking deeply for him. And he was sharing all of this stuff, and I was just like listening to all of it. And then I started to realize, actually, I'm not only carrying your shit now, I'm carrying mine, but also I don't really know where we stand, because one minute you're saying you think I'm your soulmate, which is a fucking red flag, and then the next minute you're saying you don't really know 100% sure what you want. And I'm finding this difficult, because while I'm holding all this emotional fucking baggage for you, which I do gladly, by the way, it's not like it comes with a catch, I do it gladly, but I do need a little bit of reassurance about who the fuck I am in your life. And I said that to him, and I said, like, I'm struggling with this, and I just need to know where we're at. Like, it's this is a lot, and my feelings are starting to get like pretty big for you. And his exact words were, I'm sorry, Laura, I hate to be selfish, but I can't deal with this today. I'll speak to you tonight. And then that was it. And he then messaged me an hour later with like a song about feeling sad and depressed. And he was like, this is how I feel right now. I'm sure you can appreciate it. And I thought, no, 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 no. We keep holding space for your feelings and your emotions, and you're bringing it back to you again. But I need you to hold space for mine. So I held strong that day. I cried. I cried. And like, it was the week that I had the kids. So I was like, oh, boys, I'm just going to go downstairs. I've got to put some rubbish in the bin. I'd go downstairs and I'd sit in my car, and I was like, and I'd walk back upstairs, and I'd be like, oh, it's all right. I'm just a bit sad today. Like, I'm just a little bit stressed out, boys. That's all. So I don't mind the boys seeing me crying, but also they don't need to see mum having a fucking breakdown over a boy. And then he messaged me that night, and it was like, oh, hi, how's your day been? And I thought, no, we're gonna address the problem. This is I want to bring it back to this. Like, I want to hold space for you, but I need you to hold space for me. So I again was like, well, I've kind of been crying all fucking day because this really hurts. And like, I thought we had something, and maybe we don't have something. And he ignored me. And then I just thought, I can't do this. So I had to say to him, I was like, I'm walking away and my heart hurts so fucking bad. But I know that I deserve better than this. I know that all I was asking for was X, Y, and Z. And you've put all of this emotional shit on me, and there's been no two-way street in that. So I'm going to walk away, and this is going to hurt like fuck. But I know that I cannot get into another relationship with a man that does this to me repeatedly. And I have to carry your shit as well as carrying my own. And I think that the self-worth of being a person, because again, it comes back to women going, yeah, but there's no good guys out there. Is it that there's no good guys out there? Or is it that you continue to accept just really low standards? And is it that You
Yeah.
have to do, you know, I think people seem to think that I don't fucking hurt anymore, that I don't have these feelings around dating, that I don't get my heart fucking ripped out of my chest. I do. And it's not because they've ended it. It's because I've gone, well, I fucking deserve better than that. So I'm gonna walk away. I'm gonna hurt like fuck. But I also know it's because I do deserve somebody that will give that to me because I can give it. And I know that it's not that all guys are bad. It's that I just haven't met my guy that holds space in the same capacity that I do. And I do that. And I wouldn't have ever needed that before. I would have really happily been the chameleon that softens her edges and, you know, like wiggles into the space in which they've put me in. Have you heard of a comedian called Daniel Sloss?
But probably know him by face. It's not
Oh
ringing a
my God,
bell.
oh
I
my
feel like
God,
I
oh my
want to
God,
Google it.
Josh, please, Josh, please, 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 please promise me. And then when you do, you need to tell me. Watch his two-part Netflix series.
Right.
The
Oh,
five
yes,
first
yes,
one,
yeah. He did a TED talk, didn't he?
yeah,
He
probably,
he did, yeah.
potentially.
I know exactly who he is. Yeah, I've just
He's
Googled
the
him.
guy that did that whole thing around Russell Brand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know exactly who he
Yeah,
is. Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
Please watch Dark. Meh. But you need to watch Jigsaw. Jigsaw is phenomenal. It is. So I'm not even kidding you when I say I don't know what the number is now, but from that airing on Netflix, 250,000 couples have split up after watching it because they've realised through watching that fucking episode how much the person in their life, that person who they're pinning their hopes on that they believe is their person, is not their person, because it's all about like we all have a jigsaw and we like put all of these different pieces and like as we grow up we're creating this picture of who we are as a person, and then we want to find that person, and granted no one can perfectly fit into someone else's life, it is not fucking possible, but we're looking for that jigsaw piece of that person, right? And we meet that person and there's a couple of issues, but it's like the red flags, whatever, and it's like, okay, let me take those bits out of my jigsaw because that they're more important than my bits. And then slowly but surely you take more and more of your pieces out to accommodate them because their jigsaw pieces start to take over yours. And it's such, I live by that. I mean, he's a fucking comedian, but he is, I think he's one of the best comedians. I fucking adore him, and his capacity and ability to be able to make something so fucking phenomenally brilliant but also so hard hitting is a special talent. And I watched that and I was like, fuck yeah. And I think that it is a loosely based analogy because I think that like any relationship there is a bend and flex. Sometimes you'll give 40, the other person will give 60. That's what it's meant to be. That jigsaw piece will change, but for the most part that jigsaw piece should never ever make you take out all of your other pieces to fit theirs. And I think that that is the epitome of love, and I think that's the epitome of what a healthy functioning relationship is. And again, that doesn't come down to a romance thing, that comes down to relationships, that comes down to being a person who is emotionally available enough to listen and hold space. And a lot of my friends haven't gone to therapy, they haven't done the work, but they have a capacity to sit and hold space for me and hold me when I'm crying. And they've learned the technique of going, we can cuddle you. We're finding this so difficult and so painful to see you crying like this. And like one of them, she cries when I cry and she'll be cuddling me and she's crying. And it's like she's learned that technique for me because she loves me. And so I don't know that it's necessarily about finding something that's perfect because nothing is. But I think it's about finding someone that is curious enough. And when you are, you know, I'm orphaned, right? Like I don't have a family. It means that other relationships are so fundamentally more important. And I nurture them so much because they are, yeah, they are my beating heart. Like I'll never be able to formulate words as to how incredible those people are to me. But I think that for every single relationship, that jigsaw analogy is so fucking brilliant. It is such a fantastic way to look at all relationships that we have.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch it. Do you know where it is? Where can I watch it?
It's on Netflix.
It is on Netflix, is it? All right.
Yeah, so the first one, Dark, is about his sister has cerebral palsy, and then the second one's about relationships. And it was obviously because he had come out of a highly narcissistic relationship. And yeah, you like the more you watch it, the more you're like, okay, this is lived experience.
Fuck, do I need to watch the first one before I watch the second one? No, it's not like...
Well, I mean, there's references to things that have happened in the
All right,
first one,
I'll watch the first one, yeah.
but just let me know when you've watched it. It's fucking great.
Yeah,
It's
no,
fucking great.
I really like... I'm trying to remember what his TED... Because he did a TED Talk.
Oh, I need to watch it. I
Yeah, yeah,
fucking
yeah.
love him.
I can't remember what it's about. I remember my friend sent it to me. But anyway, and I know his Russell Brand bit that I've seen him do as well.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
Sorry, I
conscious.
proper went off on one then, didn't
No,
I?
no,
I
no,
don't
you
even know where
didn't.
I
No,
fucking started.
no, no. We've been talking for so long now. I've got no idea what we're talking about or where we are. Um, Should we talk about, because I'm going to put this podcast out. There's normally a queue, but I'm going to put this one out tomorrow, I think.
Oh,
I'm
fucking
just going
hell.
to jump the queue, yeah. But because we've been talking quite topical at bits, and we're about stuff that's going on now. So I don't want to put it out in a few weeks when we're all back to just being misogynists and no one cares about the Manosphere anymore. So I feel like it needs to go out
It was
now.
relevant.
Yeah, when it's relevant. Um, Tell me about your tour.
Yeah, so I went into stand up. So I've done comedy online for like 8, 9 years, and then stand up for 4 years.
Have
So
we
this
talked
is my
about
third
anything to do
show.
with you, by the way?
No, I don't care. This has been so great. I don't even know what we fucking talked about, Josh. Do you?
No, we've done 2 hours, and I'm like, tell
We've
us about
literally
your
just gone
stand-up. Yeah, and
at
then
each other.
I'm thinking, have we told everyone that you're a comedian yet? I'm sure they know who
Yeah,
you
no,
are.
I
So
don't
anyway,
think we have. I'm a
yeah.
comedian, by the way. Hi, my name's Laura Belbin. Oh, yeah, I was meant to do that, wasn't I? And I drank my coffee.
I don't think we did it. I don't think we did it. Yeah,
We didn't do an intro.
we were going to go off and
Okay,
talk about your
so
life. I don't think we kind of got there in the end, I think. But
yeah,
anyway,
hi, my name's Laura Belbin, and I'm a comedian, and I am online known as Knee Deep in Life, and I have been doing Knee Deep in Life for the last 9 years. I got stuck in a pair of Spanx 8 years ago, which then jet propelled my career into the fucking stratosphere of all fucking things to make you go big. It would getting stuck in Spanx. I've written 2 books, but don't worry about those. I was part of my family dynamic, so they're a fucking pile of bullshit. No offense, but just don't bother reading them. I would probably do a better job. I'm terrible at fucking, yeah, like, yeah, go buy my book. No, don't bother. And I'm now yeah, I've always loved comedy, and I'm in stand up, and I have written my third show, which is called Unhinged, and I will be touring the UK with it. Like, that is, in a nutshell, me. I
links
mean,
and
we
that.
did it at the end. Do you know what I mean? So, anyone that's bothered to listen this far, congrats.
I do have a quick question on it.
Yeah.
On your career. Uh, did you make that piece of? Were you trying to be a comedian at the time?
No. No, so I got given an opportunity, oh my God, fucking years ago. Like, somebody approached me and they were like, do you want to do stand up? And I was like, no, I'm not qualified. I don't know. I just thought you had to like go to cool school to become fucking qualified comedian. Like, there's no qualification, by the way. It's just have a really problematic childhood and you'll just automatically want to make the room slightly less stressful to be in. And you'll just say stupid shit, which sometimes will land and sometimes it won't. So I I then, yeah, like 4.5 years ago, Live Nations, which is a promoting company, like they're worldwide, a guy there, he approached me and was like, do you want to do stand up? And I just thought, oh, Laura, just say yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. He was like, okay, cool. So we'll give you a room in the Comedia Club, which is in Brighton. It's like down the lanes. It's like got the 2 ladies' legs sticking out of the building. Anyway, if you can sell that and perform, we'll see if you're any good. We'll give you a tour. I was like, yeah, all right then, cool. Like, just didn't really think about it. So I put the tickets out on sale and it sold like almost immediately out. And I was like, shit, shit,
I'll do
shit,
it.
fuck, 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 fuck. So I wrote 2 40-minute sets and I stood in my kitchen with a fucking wooden spoon day and night. And I practiced that fucking thing until all I could hear were my own words saying it over and over. And then back then, I didn't think I was very funny. Like, I didn't think I was a comedian because, by the way, not really anybody in my life ever said I was funny. Somehow I had fucking millions of followers and I was still like, oh yeah, but I'm not funny though. So that really didn't help me in stand up because I always thought I wasn't funny. So I said to my friend, I was like, I want to go out on stage and I want to look ridiculous. I said, can you like make a massive vagina that I'll wear out on stage? She's like, yeah, no worries. So she made this fucking humongous vagina. And then for the second half, I had like a skin suit with like saggy tits with tennis balls and like massive pubes and like a whole vagina inside it. So literally imagine being sat backstage at a sold out show dressed as a fucking vagina. And my mates are like, oh yeah, like, I don't know, like, I'm going to have fucking lasagna for dinner tomorrow. And I just thought, I think I'd much rather jump in front of a fucking car than do this. Like, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? What if I go out there and I'm not funny? Like, everything goes through your mind. So I walked out, performed the show, and then the guy from Live Nations was there. And I didn't know that until right before I went on. Obviously, he needed to be there to see if I was funny. And then this is how awkward I am, right? I think I told you about it actually. Not on this, but when we spoke. And he was like, you were amazing, Laura. Like, we want to give you a tour. And I'm quite socially awkward. So in situations where someone is paying me a compliment, I might sometimes just say shit that I shouldn't say. And I was like, oh, cool, amazing. Do I have to give you a blowjob now? And he was like, no. I was like, you're like, just think of something. And I was like, are you sure? Because I can do it now. You're like, oh, Laura, shut up. So I'm just like, oh my god, this is meant to be a moment where you're meant to go, oh wow, that's really great. Like a guy has just fucking come in and told you that you're really good at comedy and that you can do stand up and that that's the first time you've ever fucking done stand up and you've somehow managed to like win him over. So did that tour. And then by the time I got to the end of that tour, I was like, fucking hell, I'm funny without this cat suit, actually. Like, I can do this without that shit. So then I wrote another show. Obviously, that was the one that I cancelled, but I then did it last year. And then, yeah, I've written this one. So it's just been like a whole experience of like finding myself. But no, I didn't think at any point in any capacity that I was actually.
When they asked you to if you would do a stand up and do a tour,
Mm.
like how was you making a living then through your
Off
content
of
online?
Yeah, off of content online, yeah. And I think that's the other thing, right? Is people, this is another thing that I think is really good to talk about because no other cunt talks about it. I don't know if you have this. Is it because, so like on Facebook, I've got like 1.2 million, 1.3 million followers, 500,000 on Instagram, and then I don't know, like 315,000 on TikTok. People are like, you're a millionaire. I'm like, no.
People
We're,
assume you're mega rich, don't they? Yeah, everybody
yeah,
thinks I'm well rich. Yeah.
yeah. They're like, are you loaded? No, mate. I've
No.
told you a million times. I shop in fucking Lidl. Do you know what I mean? Like, no. But even I, as a content creator, as somebody with this career, I'll look at other cunts online and I'll be like, how is it that they're doing it and they're doing it so successfully because their life looks like they're fucking loaded? And then I'm like, like, Laura, come on. Like, mate, they're faking it. I don't want to pretend like that because it's not like that. And then also, then when other people get into the industry and they then start working, and they're like, why am I so normal? Like, why am I not like fucking Jennifer Lopez, where I've got like a whole entourage of staff?
Literally do. I'll do breathwork events, right? And I do them around the country, and most of them are like venues that you got about 30 people led down, right? 30.
Yeah,
And people will go, I don't know why, but I expected you to have like a whole team with you. And I was like, there's 30 people here. You paid 30 quid for a ticket. Like, how do you think I'm fucking paying for a team to be here? Like, I'm probably losing money because I decided not to stay in a travel lodge. You know what
yeah,
I mean? I've
yeah.
stayed in the Hilton and that's it. Like, I got a nice night in the Hilton from doing this. Like, I don't know what people think, man. I fucking don't. And the people say it
I
to me
know.
all the time. How much money do you make off of your videos on Instagram? And I'm like,
Yeah, but also, I find that so cheeky. People will turn
yeah,
around to
I
me and they'll
know.
go, so much money are you making a month? How much fucking money are you making a month, Susan? You nosy cunt. It's none of your fucking business.
It's so true, man.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like I've had people walk up to me before and they're like, can you let us know, like, how come you and Steve, which is my ex-husband, how come you and Steve split up? Oh, hi, don't know who you are. Let me just unpack all of that for you. No, I'm not fucking telling you jack shit. It's none of your business. Like, just, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
people just ask like the most personal questions, and you're like, I would never ever ask anyone. I don't even ask my fucking mates what they earn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know
It's
what I
true,
mean? Like,
man.
it
Yeah.
drives me wild. Honestly, it does. Also, speaking of breath work, so like I would never do group breath work because I'm just too it's not that I'm self-conscious, it's just because I'm a fucking nightmare at letting go. So like like I said, it's taken me forever to even cry in front of my fucking friends, and even then sometimes I still can't do it. So anyway, my friend, she does like everything to do with holistics, and she was like, I've gone to Bali for 3 weeks and I'm now a breathwork practitioner. I'd really like to do some breathwork with you, you know. And you're like, ghost, that one cunt that goes to fucking Bali, finds Jesus, and then comes back. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. Anyway, so went last week, and she has seen me cry before. And I'm laying on her bed, and she's like, I'm going to do Reiki. You've got to listen to the sort of like the recording while I do Reiki and kind of work you through all of it. And while I'm laying there, I'm like, this is not going to do fuck all. This is going to be awkward because nothing's going to happen. And I was just like, crying my eyes out. And she was like, it's all right, you can let go. And I was just like, and then also like that fucking, you've got to hold your breath and then breathe. And it's like, fucking hell, I can't cry, breathe, and hold my fucking breath. It's such hard work. But yeah, and then afterwards, like, I just felt this insane overwhelm of like deep gratitude. Just like, I'm so grateful for fucking everything. It was wild. It was fucking amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's amazing what it does. It's powerful stuff, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. So I am yeah, I love it. I think it's amazing. It was, I would have it every single fucking day. I know I could learn to do it myself, but you know, I've got to be hyper focused on something to give a fuck about it.
Yeah, same. Absolutely. I'm exactly the same. I feel like I normally, when I'm winding things up here, I say I feel like we've naturally come to a close. We are just at getting close to the limit of me being able to hold my bladder. It's normally an hour.
Do
This
you
is
know what that is? It's because you're getting old, Josh, because you're nearly 40.
yeah, what? Yes, yes, and I've always had. I don't know why I'm talking about this. I've always had a problem with it. I can't hold it for like. It's a nervous thing.
It is
It's an
clearly.
anxiety thing.
And you've
Apparently,
well and truly stretched that out to 2 hours and 5 minutes.
the longest podcast I've ever done, by the way.
Oh God, is it? Sorry, I can only apologise.
I don't know. Is it not an accolade thing? Can we not do that as like? Is that not like an
Yeah,
achievement?
fucking yeah.
Yeah.
Try and beat that, you bastards.
And
Whoever
the
comes in
best,
after me, they're just never going to hit it. They're not going to hit it.
and the best thing is, I don't think we've really talked about anything like, you know,
I don't
we
even know what
still
we've
haven't
talked
answered the
about.
first question. Oh no, we might have done it. The first question of like, how are you doing? I don't think
Oh, and I was
you
like,
was drinking coffee for that.
and then when I did the intro at the end, so
It's been good, man. It's been good.
it's been amazing. I've loved it.
Do you have any parting words of wisdom?
Just, you know what, I think to you or to the people listening.
Oh, okay. Well, if they'll be different, give us both now. I don't like give to me. Yeah, give some parting words of wisdom to me.
Parting words of advice to you. Now my brain's gone fucking blank. I think parting words on the whole is try and find forgiveness for the fact that you're just not going to get it all right all the time.
Yeah,
And also, when people say, are you living your best life? People will say that to me quite a lot now because they're like, God, you look so happy. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Because it also means that I'm also really sad, and it also means that I cry a lot. And I think it's about living your best life is about really being as authentic to yourself as possible. However you show up authentically. And it's painful because you'll get rejected. That's going to happen. It does fucking happen. And rejection feels horrible. It doesn't matter how, what, it just does. So it makes space for the fact that rejection hurts, But when you show up authentically, you then surround yourself with the best kinds of people that get you, love you, and choose to not be anything but your biggest cheerleaders.
Amazing.
That's it.
I feel like we should start our own podcast. It's just me and you.
Shall we? I'd love that. That's how I started my last podcast. It was done like in 47 seconds of like, yeah, let's fucking do it. Let's do a podcast together, Josh.
We should do a topical debate podcast where we like every couple of weeks or whatever it is, whatever's going on, we just like talk about it from a like man and woman perspective.
I'm here for it, man.
It would actually be fucking good.
I think it'd be great.
Well, we've proved now that you
might put this out and everyone will be like, oh,
or we'll just both get cancelled for something that we didn't see coming. It'd probably be because I said I've got
stick.
That's what I was just about to say. It probably, which I confirmed was a joke at the time.
Obviously, and I confirmed the fact that I'd never taken drugs. That was a joke as well. So.
And by the way, before we go, I am going to come to your tour.
Good.
Yeah, I think I'm going to come to the Bath one.
Okay, let me know and I'll put tickets.
Yeah, I'll let you know like nearer the time because I don't commit to anything fully.
Oh, good. I don't like to commit to anything either. It's boring.
That's why, because I said to you, I'm going to come, and you were like, yeah, let me know which one. And I was like, oh no, you want confirmation now? I can't give you that. I said I'm going to come to one.
Yeah, I know. That's fine. You can overthink it. It's not a problem at all.
That's
and if
what
you don't show up, don't worry. I won't cry about it.
But Bath's only up the road. So
from where?
From where I live.
I thought you lived in London.
No, I live in a place called Royal Wootton Bassett in Wiltshire.
You know where that is?
How do you know where Royal Wootton Bassett is?
Because I fucked a guy from there. I'm joking. I haven't. Yeah, I got fisted by a guy from there. No.
Yeah, but that doesn't whittle it down, like, does it? I said that and then panicked that it was too much.
Never too much for me. Don't worry.
All right, I feel like we should stop now because
let's just stop talking.
We're going off the
Put it out. Well, let's say, does everybody want us to do a podcast? There you go.
If you want us to do a podcast, comment below.
Comment below.
Oh. Right, I'm gonna press stop.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye.
I did tell you it would be dysfunctional, so thank you for sticking around till the end here. And if you have enjoyed this podcast, then please help me to grow Dysfunctional by sharing with your friends on social media. You can find me at Josh_FFW. And then wherever you're listening to this or watching this, please make sure that you've liked and subscribed, left us a 5-star review and a comment if your platform allows it. And I'll see you on the next one.